This isn't any regular heat. This is nuclear heat. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Bringing you the latest from the Square Circle on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Jake Bockoven.
Oh, yes, it's great to be with you here on a Sunday night for some nuclear heat, some pro wrestling talk from this past week of pro wrestling. And there's plenty to go through, Raw and SmackDown as usual. But we also had Saturday night's main event, the second time of the nostalgic show that they have brought back. And, of course, looking forward to Royal Rumble, which is less than 1 week away now. Next Saturday is the official beginning to the road to WrestleMania. I'm Jake Bockoven, your host for the show. Thanks for joining me, joined by my tag team partner and partner in crime, Augie Pena. Augie, how's it going for you?
Oh, it's going amazing. It's a great day today. You know, some good wrestling yesterday. And then the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl. Had a great win today.
That's right. For the radio audience, he is decked out in his Eagles gear per usual throughout this playoff run and really throughout much of the season.
Yeah.
Sunday, that a lot of people do that. Their NFL teams on Sunday, and you have a reason to continue doing it. For some reason, I haven't been wearing too much Cardinal stuff lately, but maybe in a few years from now. But yeah, a great game by the Eagles. We know the Super Bowl, Eagles-Chiefs rematch once again, so that'll be exciting as well. But as you mentioned, wrestling is heating up, and there's certainly a lot to go over as we look forward and kind of make our picks at the Royal Rumble, but also some questionable booking decisions that I want to get into. But Saturday night main event altogether, I thought, especially for what it is, which is right before Royal Rumble, so you kind of have to shift a few of your bigger feuds over to this to make it kind of interesting. They fought for what it ended up being 3 championships of the four card match, and the other kind of being a monster versus monster match with Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. So I thought it was a very good card. It's kind of interesting because it's in between Raw and SmackDown, right? There's not like one brand, so you don't get too much of the backstage stuff. It's nice that they really lean into the nostalgia, though, bringing Jesse the Body Ventura, all the former wrestlers. And the presentation of it, again, for being on NBC, maybe getting a new audience and trying to rope them in. It used to be you try to rope them in to buy a premium live event.
Yeah.
Now you're just trying to get them to change the channel to USA Network once in a while and sign up for Netflix. So, or is it Peacock? I'm getting confused. So Peacock and Netflix and USA and NBC. And so all these, these different deals, again, to trying to reach a new audience. So you have to at least market it. And that's what I thought was the challenge of this, is going up to Royal Rumble, was to get enough matches that would be interesting, and also kind of try to draw in a new audience. But for what it was, I thought it was very entertaining. Strowman, Fatu, my favorite matchup of the night. But altogether, I was sports entertained, as we say.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was a little weird being on NBC, and they let a lot of things go, I thought, for being on NBC a Saturday night, which I really enjoyed. And like you said, I think Jesse Ventura did a great job. Feels like he's a natural on there. The matches, I didn't think there was a dud. I thought they were all great. They didn't really further many storylines other than, the Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman run. But I mean, if you're just a genuine wrestling fan, it was great, because you know how we kind of complain about it being 3 hours is too long. 2 hours on this, great. Not a lot, like you said, not a whole lot of backstage on there. So yeah, I was very entertained. The one thing I will say is they, once the World Championship match was over, the main event, they kind of just cut off. It just kind of goes there. So that's still a little weird to get used to. But yeah, it's a great game plan for them to gain a new audience on just cable TV. Because it's right there. I think like channel 6 for most people. And yeah, it was a good time. And, they brought out a lot of nostalgia, like you said, for this one. A lot of those there, but yeah, it was a fun time, and only 4 matches, essentially.
4 matches in a contract signing.
Yeah. In 2 hours. And, WWE shows, they know how to do it. I think they just kind of maybe get a little lazy, on some Raws and SmackDown, or just, too much time. That they have to fill there. Yeah. So 2 hours, 4 matches. I mean, I thought that was great. And like I said, none of them were really any duds. They were all great.
Well, it's kind of interesting too, because again, you wonder about the long-term game plan here of like, how much did they plan for this? sometimes these deals kind of get thrown in place and you don't know exactly what you're going to do. And so a lot of these matchups, while being championship matchups, have just kind of been thrown together in the last 2 weeks. So kind of wonder there. You didn't get an ending to long-term feuds in this one. But again, you're kind of challenging if you're in WWE programming or the head of creative or any of that. You're kind of challenging yourself because you want to get the main things over to Royal Rumble. You want to get all your storylines in there. And you also want to put up a good card for NBC and for new audiences. So again, they did a great job here. Let's go ahead and start breaking it down. Nia Jax against Rhea Ripley. This one for the women's world title. A good way to open up again for the new audience to see one of your brightest, biggest stars, Rhea Ripley, your women's world title. And I think too, in just trying to get the women's, to get kind of that new audience or to draw people in. A lot of it is just let's get big people in there that look physically intimidating or kind of get an interesting matchup. And that's what you had here, Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley. Again, I mean they've feuded over time, but it looked like the next step for Nia Jax after losing her title, after months and months of booking in it, was to get Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax or to get try to get some payback there. Kind of weird. I don't know if they're going to get to that eventually, but they've kind of just said, well, throw that aside. Nia Jax is going after Rhea for now. So that would be my one complaint. It just feels like they booked that up for a long time and then just never followed through with it. But you have an interesting matchup here. A couple close near falls, for Nia to get the win. Couple for Rhea before Rhea ends up hitting a Riptide for the win. I will say this about Nia and to defeat kind of a competitor that's that big. They try to do those kind of big spots. The Riptide I thought looked okay. Other times it's hard to, it looks like they want to show like Rhea's strength, and especially off the rope. I thought it just looked like she fell over. It looked like she couldn't handle the weight of Nia Jax, which is understandable. But if that's the case, maybe you don't go for that move. But in any case, right booking decision and a good way to try to get people drawn in from the openers for Rhea to kind of overcome a physical obstacle.
Yeah, and I wasn't the biggest fan of this match happening, right? That's been discussed, but I was pleasantly surprised, and thought Nia Jax and Rhea put on a pretty good match here. As you said, Rhea wasn't going to drop the title, but man, they had some pretty close calls there, and yeah, the Riptide, while it does look funky on that, that's what WWE does though. They really like to, the Braun Strowmans, those, if they can get picked up by somebody that's not as big as them, it looks wonky, but it's supposed to pay off there. But yeah, kudos to Nia Jax. I'm not her biggest fan. Unlike you, I know you do like her. And there, I do think she's been playing the role well. Of being essentially the monster among the women's division there. And even headbutted Rhea Ripley. Kind of stole her move there. Yeah. But this is like we said, kind of before the Royal Rumble, a week before the Royal Rumble. So it's kind of pretty predictable on that, but yeah, good match. And then Rhea Ripley's now gonna go ahead and just maybe whoever wins the Royal Rumble is gonna go after her. But yeah, no further development from here. It's just kind of a fun match to, like you said, to kind of get the new audience going.
And this was one again that was booked within less than a week. I think we opened up Raw with Jax for some reason. We don't know it. Yeah. We don't even know the reason now. It's just Jax attacking Rhea. Maybe it was to say I'm on Raw and I'm the I'm the kind of the person you're gonna have to go through here. But and then that led to a matchup later where after a matchup with Bayley, then Rhea comes out and attacks her and issues this challenge. Kind of strange. And then on SmackDown, Nia Jax announced that she was going to enter the Royal Rumble. I was glad that they at least covered themselves and saying, okay, I'm going to win Rhea's belt here, and then I'm going to come after Tiffany's belt. Yeah. So at least it was like, okay. But, similar to Jey Uso we talked about earlier, you really tell where you're going if you enter the Royal Rumble before your championship match. It's like, well, you don't even believe in yourself to get the championship. So that's another small complaint. And I just don't understand why they keep doing it. I mean, I think it's an obvious fix that's pretty easy. Again, I think it's one way or the other was going to be hard to convince you that Nia Jax was going to win this thing. So maybe they just said, whatever, to hell with it. We'll just roll with what we've got.
Yeah.
But that is one critique I'd have about the whole feud that they set up really quick, a week feud, right?
Yeah, no, they really did. Like you said, it was a 7-day thing. I had forgotten that Saturday night main event was a week before the Royal Rumble, until watching this past Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, I agree with it on that. And they kind of have glorified entering the Royal Rumble opposed to the surprises that we used to have. We know if you're an active wrestler, you're probably going to be in there. But we don't need everybody announcing that they're going to be in the Royal Rumble. What's his name? Akira Tozawa. If they announce he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, it's like, okay, you're going overboard on that. Cause you want the John Cena's, the Roman Reigns, kind of the guys you don't see all the time mentioning it, or the CM Punks. But yeah, I mean, they kind of go overboard. And I guess another way to look at it is if they didn't announce it beforehand, this Monday and Friday for Raw and SmackDown coming up would just be the whole episode to be, I'm entering the Royal Rumble, just it'd be too many people there. But yeah, we'll see. I expect Nia to have a good showing in this Royal Rumble. Because like I said, she's been getting better. One of the biggest complaints was she just hurts people and wasn't great in the ring. I think she's improved, ever since she came back from being released on here and the match against Tiffy. And she's had a couple, other matches in between. But this one against Rhea kind of really sparked my interest in Nia Jackson. I'm like, okay, she's probably not going to win, but, she's going to be a fun entry in that Royal Rumble.
Well, and they kind of did the SmackDown, and we'll get to those individual episodes later. But again, like SmackDown especially didn't have a whole lot going for it other than Royal Rumble entries. Yeah. And it all happened in this one segment where they all come out. A lot of the women came out because they hadn't announced too many entering the Royal Rumble. And that was where she went ahead and announced it. And again, that, some of what of it is that you need and you want to get some big names on the marquee, if you will. And that's one thing I will notice when she came out among some of those other women, right? This was the who's who of the Women's Royal Rumble that they were trying to get going. Is that she gets a crowd reaction? Yeah, it's not a good one, but it's a good one for her being a heel, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's boos. She's always going at it with the crowd, and she's just a great heel. And so I understand, like you said, maybe haven't been the biggest fan of her over her career, but seems to be getting better in almost every aspect of professional wrestling. So that was their first match there. We moved on to Sheamus against Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. Of course, Sheamus needing this Intercontinental title to become the Grand Slam champ. Interesting note here, Jesse Ventura, who did do the commentary, actually acknowledged that Braun Breaker was a Steiner. Yep. Even took a shot at the Steiner family with their math problems that they have at times. But so I thought that was kind of interesting. Sheamus nearly gets the win with a bro crick, but Breaker barely gets his foot on the ropes. And again, I just like Ventura here arguing that should have been over. You don't hear that from a commentator too much. So a guy that's just filling in, love it. But ultimately, Braun hits the spear for the win and was very tired on the cover. Could barely even pull up Sheamus's leg. That lets you know that they put on another banger, as Sheamus normally will do. But again, this was the only one of the championship matches that I was kind of wondering maybe they do it. It'd be a cool moment for Sheamus. Braun doesn't have a whole lot going for him as far as momentum with this he's got the Intercontinental title, so he's got that going for him. But it just feels like he doesn't have a whole lot of momentum with it. So I thought that might happen, but ultimately they continue with Braun Breaker, and the only thing I can say is find some new competition. Okay, at least at some point close this up at least for a while. You can always go back to the Sheamus needs the Intercontinental title, which they will do, and will be a great story at some time. But this is either round 2 or round 3, and if Ludwig Kaiser gets involved again, it's just at some point to get Braun Breaker anything going, he's going to have more competition. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought this was a really good match. This reminds you of just what Braun Breaker can be, right? And Sheamus, maybe why they've stayed with him, because I thought this was fun. And I'll point out one thing: Jesse Ventura kept dropping the F-bomb. Did you notice that? Worldwide Federation. That's a big no-no. Yes, that is a big no-no. And apparently they censored it all off of YouTube because you're not supposed to do that. So Jesse Ventura was really playing that heel role, which is why I say I think this was phenomenal on there. And it also did look like Braun didn't get the leg up on the rope in time for 3. So they kind of have a legitimate thing going there, which kind of worries you that they can kind of run it back. And Sheamus, could say kind of the Kevin Owens, I won, the typical thing there. But I agree on this. They need to move on from it just a little bit. Braun being a mid-card title, they enter them into the Royal Rumble. Hopefully he has a great showing there. Maybe starts a feud, because the Royal Rumble in the match is kind of who you get eliminated by, who you eliminate, kind of starts some feuds. I'm hoping they give him a new competitor, because as great as Sheamus is, and Ludwig Kaiser for your sake on there, he just needs somebody else, because it's been the same people for like the past 4 or 5 months, and
we talked about it. Braun, somebody that just needs to be pushed to the moon, and he's a champ, but he's kind of just in the same spot over and over again because they keep giving him the same people. So yeah, I look to to maybe have something in the works for the Royal Rumble for him and to start a feud there.
Yeah, my prediction is Ludwig Kaiser is coming up next.
Oh, man.
That would be my guess. Then we hear Shawn Michaels music. Shawn Michaels is back in San Antonio. Always some of the most interesting music. Cover your kids' ears as it begins. But in any case, Shawn Michaels returning to oversee the contract between Cody and KO. After some arguing about what this match was about, Cody's pretty much tired of talking and all that, and KO continues to want to blame Cody for things that have gone on in the past. Cody or KO gets upset with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels calls him out, saying he's in the wrong. So he tries to hit Shawn Michaels with a pile driver, and Cody ultimately makes the save. And then San Antonio gets some sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels. And this might be the first time that I ever complain about sweet chin music. I think they needed to do it. If you bring him back, you might as well have him get somebody. But Kevin Owens is, again, your severe underdog in this match. There's hardly any reason to believe KO would get the belt at this point over Cody heading into WrestleMania season. And so, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it buried him or anything, but you have a legend, a very old legend, getting the chops of KO there. That doesn't make him seem as dastardly or as, scary as somebody that's coming after Cody. And then the other thing is just that he did the fake pile driver or went with the near pile driver to Rey Mysterio. He's done this a few times now and just not landing them and always not, coming up short compared to actually hitting a few of those on Shawn Michaels or Rey Mysterio, who, Shawn Michaels is already out. Rey, you could have him sit out for a few weeks just to sell the injury. They could have really built this up to be like, man, he is taking legends out. He's somebody needs to stop him. And instead it just kind of feels like, well, he's coming up short with his goals here.
Yeah. And last week when we talked about this, I said, I probably a chin sweet music to somebody. When you see it, it's kind of it was kind of a nail in the coffin for Kevin Owens, right? Because you want to believe, kind of with the work he's been doing, that he has a chance. But it is Royal Rumble season. Cody Rhodes is the chosen boy right now. We're gonna say that on there. But I thought the segment was fine until that happened. Kevin Owens was kind of still the same thing on there. So yeah, a little disappointed with it. I thought a really cool moment was when they hung both of the belts up, because it is going to be a ladder match. So I thought that was good. That winged eagle belt looks just so nice compared to that undisputed championship.
Big logo,
yeah. I think they should just revert back to it. I think that'd be fun there on it. But I'm excited for the match. I thought this because so for one, Shawn Michaels getting involved, I get it. You want the big draw, San Antonio, where he's from, but you're also kind of sliding Nick Aldis because he apparently couldn't get it done. And I thought he was supposed to be the general manager out of the two between he and Adam Pearce that could have the respect of his wrestlers. That kind of was just shot down, when you have to kind of get Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels was kind of shooting at him like, hey, you can't get the job done, I'll get it done, to get Kevin Owens to sign for this. So that was another thing that kind of irked me just a little bit on there. But other than that, I thought it was a fun segment. And I guess, hopefully it's just a hard-hitting ladder match that we know is very predictable. Cody Rhodes will come out on top. But, this segment did what it was supposed to do. Got the job hyped, and got to hear that theme music one last time for HBK, which, like you said, very inappropriate, but very fun to listen to.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic. So I always love that entrance from Shawn Michaels. Although you can tell with his age, he's having a little harder time getting up from going down that far. But but in any case, that is weird that you bring it up between the general managers there. They kind of had this like beef with each other on storyline wise. They kind of just threw that away. Now they've got this open transfer portal thing going on. They're not really going to it too much. So kind of interesting there. Again, this is something they do often is see if anything's, kind of catching on. If it's not, they'll move on and they can always go back to it. So, interesting stuff there. Braun Strowman against Jacob Fatu, kind of a monster versus werewolf is what they'll say, but monster versus monster match here. And let me say this. Excellent job again of the kind of the package that they're putting together to hype up the video package that they put together to hype up this match, because this was kind of quickly thrown together. They had a stare off in the middle of the ring. It looked exciting. And I think WWE said, all right, let's put that on NBC.
Yeah.
And it's great. Again, like there's 3 championship matches in this non-championship match. And this one is what people are going to walk away talking about. So a great job from the 2 competitors inside to be able to tell that story. But a lot of it was just about the writing here. In any case, you kind of had Fatu kind of controlling a lot of this match. Strowman got a few things in before Fatu finally snapped. Was continuing running hip strikes over and over to Braun Strowman's head to the point that the referee just had to stop it. Fatu didn't like that, so he threw the referee out of the match. The referee, crawls over and dings the bell. So Fatu is disqualified. Ultimately, Strowman wins. That's not the story. The story is Fatu just continued with those hip strikes right at Strowman to the point he was bleeding. All these people had to come in to try to stop it. Fatu decides, okay, you're going to stop that. I'm just going to moonsault over Strowman once, and then I'll leave. And then I'm not going to leave. I'm going to come back and do it again. So kind of call back to the Bronson Reed spot on Seth Rollins that they did a few months ago. Even made me think, like, well, was this a Bronson Reed match? Of course, he has been out the last couple of weeks after injuring himself. So I kind of thought maybe this was a spot they had planned for him. But ultimately, I think putting on Fatu was great. Strowman was bloody as all heck, right? With on his face. And I don't know. It's a great job. Braun Strowman, as I mentioned against Bronson Reed, even won the monster match against Bronson Reed when Braun Strowman had 0 push and Reed had all of it. So it's not a matchup that you'll see happen often. Strowman does not get buried like this often, but that really makes your heel, Jacob Fatu, rise in what we expect to see from him moving forward. And I'll say this too. They had Solo leave Fatu and Tama Tonga. Of course, Tonga Loa's been out. This is better. Fatu and Tama Tonga, as 2 kind of wild guys without any leadership. That's perfect. Those other 2, they kind of bring down the group a little. If I'm going to be honest, you've kind of got Jacob Fatu is this crazy animal, crazy athlete, and then again, I've said before, Tama Tonga just does a good job of coming off crazy. I mean, he legitimately seems like a crazy guy. And they tried to give the crazy gimmick to a lot of wrestlers. It's hard to pull off. So, that's fantastic. But again, I want to get your thoughts on the spot they did here with Fatu, just destroying Braun Strowman, their monster.
Man, you just stole my thunder the whole way. I was going to say this. I was going to say those 2 are the perfect package. Tama Tonga, the way he talks, the way he is, his role, kind of just being there with Jacob Fatu, and Jacob can cut a mean promo. So I thought I was so impressed by this. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little worried because Braun Strowman did start out kind of toying with Jacob Fatu. You were kind of thinking, what are you going to do here? But this was perfectly executed. It just allows them to kind of just be them, kind of just what we wanted. Like you said, Solo kind of just always kept them. Tonga Loa is kind of boring. Tama, just the whole, everything he does there is just perfect with it. I thought this was just phenomenal. Just Jacob Fatu, let him go crazy. They've been doing it the past couple weeks on SmackDown. They're just kind of getting involved in everybody's feuds. They're attacking everybody. And now tonight, or last night, you had Jacob Fatu just go after, Braun Strowman and just destroy him. This was really good showing. We say this a lot and we probably don't mean to, but man, you can push him right now. He is hot. He's kind of doing everything. The Royal Rumble, not going to win it probably, but man, you can have a great showing.
Some big spots when he gets in there. Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, at this point, you probably want him to go after a mid-card title at WrestleMania. Either Bronson. Who am I trying to say? Braun Breaker. Yeah. I think that, man,
that would be good. Yeah.
Talk about something there, or the U.S. title, which kind of is occupied by some other people there. But man, that showing yesterday was phenomenal. And then you see Braun Strowman post on Twitter, "You should have killed me when you had the chance to," posted that. So that's thinking this feud. But hey, this was a lot of fun, and I was very impressed with kind of just everything that I saw.
Yeah, and I think that's what we'll probably see is that the Royal Rumble, Strowman maybe eliminate Fatu to kind of get his payback, and then you start that, and you could have this Saturday night main event thing that they just kind of threw together, be a longer feud that maybe could still be something that you want to see at WrestleMania. Again, the key here, and sometimes this is what the exciting part is of being a wrestling fan and breaking it down. Keep that heat on Fatu. Fatu's better than he's ever been as far as like okay, I want to see what's next with him, whether it's with Strowman, just have him continue this, whatever it may, maybe it is kind of do the Bronson Reed thing where he's just going to basically take out any opponent that you put him in the ring with. But, don't put this on ice. And sometimes they just kind of book their way out of it or just kind of move along. This is something to kind of keep up with. So we'll see what they do with Jacob Fatu moving forward. Also with Braun Strowman. Let's get to the main event, the World Heavyweight Championship between Gunther and WWE's mascot, Jey Uso. At least that's what Gunther was calling him in here. Again, another one hard to sell anybody to believe that Jey Uso is going to win this. That's where the in-ring action has to take over and do it itself. They did that. They did a great job. Uso hit 2 spears and even a Superfly splash, and the crowd was ready to cheer for his victory. Ultimately, it was not enough. Gunther gets up, back-to-back power bombs, helps Gunther retain the title. And again, a matchup of a lot of near falls, really good matchups. Gunther, we say it all the time about Sheamus, but Gunther, puts on these great matches too, just with the amount of, kind of beating that he can take and throw out there as well. And they also mentioned that Gunther's been a champion for over 80% of his title run or his time on the roster, which is very impressive too. I mean, we've been saying it for a long time. Jey Uso's not going to win this thing. He didn't, but it's one of those deals of kind of getting over without going over.
Yeah, it was a good showing for him. I saw something. Gunther's been the champ for like 179 days, and this is only his 5th title defense. That's not a lot. So they need to work on that. But yeah, it was fun. Jay's chest was just red, just ruined by those chops. And it was the fun time, good main event for a really solid, Saturday night main event, I thought. And, Jey Uso, I expect him will get a huge pop, in going into the Royal Rumble. And then, he'll probably have a great showing because I kind of agree with Gunther. He kind of is a mascot for the WWE right now. The fans love him. They're really just getting behind him on that, but he doesn't have it right now to be a world champ. And like you said, this was a hard sell, and he already entered into the Royal Rumble. So that kind of told you on there. But yeah, I would say this was a solid main event. And as a whole, Saturday night main event, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. It was just fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Again, for kind of short feuds thrown together, titles on the line. Jacob Fatu looking like a monster. So it was fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We got Raw and SmackDown to review. We'll kind of do some quick thoughts on some of the bigger matches there, and then get into our Royal Rumble predictions and thoughts heading into that this upcoming Saturday. We'll take a quick break. Be right back here on Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Early break. Joe says, Kevin says, The old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good
them.
joke, good
I love
one.
the joke. You're good one.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bockoven, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, happy to be back with you here on Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket on Sunday night. Again, I've thought about maybe changing the name to Sunday Night Heat because that sounds pretty cool too, but Nuclear Heat's pretty good, and we'll keep rolling with it. Having a lot of fun talking some pro wrestling, a lot of going on as we lead up to next Saturday's Royal Rumble. I would say my second favorite event actually probably my favorite event of the year. I like WrestleMania, but Royal Rumble just has something special to it. As long as they do it right, like you said, we need a few surprises here.
Yeah, and I think you have to always exclude WrestleMania from those because it's kind of the main thing, so I always kind of exclude it. But yeah, Royal Rumble is my favorite, premium live event by far. Like you said, if they hit us with some surprises, as long as Cody Rhodes doesn't hit a three-peat, which he won't because he's the champ, he can't. So that's kind of something there. It's very rare when they miss on a Royal Rumble, except for maybe when a Sami Zayn is the number 30th entry. That's kind of a big disappointment. But other than that, it's just a fun time. Just all the wrestlers in, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are looking forward to that. Let's quickly go through Raw and SmackDown before we kind of get to our predictions here at the end of the show. Again, a lot of Raw and SmackDown was somewhat setting up Saturday's main event, which we were talking about. So a lot of that I'll just kind of go over pretty quickly. For instance, we'll start with Raw. Jey Uso Gunther had a promo. Not much to talk about there. Their feud seems to be done. JBL was back for commentary after dissing the New Day. Nobody wants to be aligned with the New Day. JBL, similar to what we were talking about earlier on Saturday's night's main event with Jesse the Body Ventura. Always great for guest commentary. Of course, did it for quite some time for WWE. So I thought that was entertaining. Interesting booking decision. They had Rey Mysterio against Kofi Kingston. Rey Mysterio quickly coming off the defeat that he just had to Kevin Owens. So good way to move him along pretty quickly. And I've been saying for weeks too, love New Day to kind of get the best of Rey Mysterio because that'll get more heat on them. And they're already, Kofi Kingston said, I'm tired of it. We did a good job of fighting the crowd here. Surprisingly, and there were a few, what I would say, bad pin decisions here at the end. They had Rey Mysterio roll up Kofi Kingston for the win. And then you kind of get into this post-match beatdown. Xavier Woods goes in there to go help out his buddy Kofi Kingston. LWO comes out to make the save. And that's further from where I would want to be. I don't not necessarily interested in LWO against the New Day, more so that, Rey Mysterio against Kofi Kingston or, Xavier Woods, either one, have them beat him for the win is what I would have went with. But this is kind of what they're going with here.
Yeah. It, like you said, it's a little head scratching, but you have a feeling that this feud's going to last for a while. So they kind of can't have one side be dominant. So, okay, that's on there. I'm just curious, as I mentioned on the Saturday Night Main Event, talking there too, that, what they do in the Royal Rumble. Is this going to be, now Kofi and Xavier are going to be the reason Rey, doesn't win it, or, who they eliminate? Could have some fun there with it. But yeah, the LWO, man, they just kind of just fallen, from where they were. And really the only person is Rey Mysterio. That's really, and obviously because he's been around for a long time. But as for the New Day, they're fun, but they can only do this for so long. They need to maybe do what a Jacob Fatu or a Toma are doing. Hey, if everyone hates you, nobody wants you, maybe just start taking everybody out. But Ray, like you said, that's a first good feud. But it seems like they might be going down the wrong direction here. And we might be having this all the way to WrestleMania, which I don't think is what you want to do.
Yeah, we'll see. And like you said, LWO, I always thought if they would have kept Carlito, maybe we'd kind of have something interesting there. They've really tried to kind of push the next luchador right under Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
But I mean, specifically the two guys that made the save here, they're just they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean they're not good in the ring. They've never had a story that really puts them over. They're just kind of the guys in LWO that get beat up. So kind of odd to see them get into this, but I suppose they'll get beat up here pretty soon by Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Backstage, by the way, Chad Gable revealed Dominic Mysterio will help him with his luchador problem. So that's kind of interesting to see where they'll go there next. Maybe get back into Penta. Penta took down Pete Dunne on this episode, and Penta's, again, still wildly over for a debuting wrestler. So maybe we'll see that. I mean, there's kind of some interesting ways to go. Dominic Mysterio getting back involved with Ray, I don't think would necessarily be, but there just aren't too many luchadors to go after.
Yeah, so I think I kind of got this one a little spoiled for me. I think I know who the wrestler is. Not really a luchador. Kind of does in that. You want me to say
Yeah,
who I
go
think?
ahead.
Aleister Black.
Okay, that'd be great.
I think he's out of AEW, and he's kind of been on the luchador because I don't think it's really been set that like it's a true luchador, So I think it's because I think they said something about Black in there as well, and that's kind of been dropping around. So maybe wait to see him as maybe an entry in the Royal Rumble, and then he's kind of with Chad in there. Yeah, we'll probably be seeing Aleister Black come back.
That'd be interesting to have Chad Gable just kind of welcome AEW, like put over AEW guys that come in. That'd be an interesting role, but we'll see it. I think anything with Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio in it will be pretty good. I like those two involved. Sami Zayn on Raw did come out and announce his entry to the Royal Rumble. Interestingly enough, here KO came out. You kind of expected a similar thing that had played out with Rey Mysterio, of course, with a little more bad blood between them because KO and Sami Zayn are best friends. But I like what they did. Kind of with the opposite here is kind of putting Sami Zayn in a position of, hey, I want to headline WrestleMania against you, and kind of reminding and befriending Sami Zayn, which puts Sami Zayn, who's kind of a good guy right now, or who is a good guy right now, in an interesting position.
Yeah, it was a good mind twist, right?
Yeah.
In there, because like you said, you're kind of expecting it, but Kevin Owens kind of just playing with everybody. And I love that he still thinks of himself as the champ. I think that's kind of a funny line. A delusional Kevin Owens is great there. And Sami Zayn, we talked about it. They're kind of maybe lost with him, on here. Yeah, he's going to enter the Royal Rumble as long as he's not number 30. I think he'll be fine there. But he's kind of just been the punching bag. So this was kind of a fun little segment, a little throwback, I'd say, to their best friend ship that they used to have.
Yeah, and by the way, we might as well hit it while we're on it because we got to kind of move quickly here. Is that they had Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre WrestleMania rematch here as the main event, and I only bring that up because it basically, Rollins beat McIntyre. McIntyre post match beat down with Rollins. I have my own problems with pinning McIntyre, as I've said before. But it ends with Seth Rollins accidentally hitting a haluva kick again on Seth, or I think I misspoke, but Seth Rollins gets the haluva kick from Sami Zayn. So now you've got Sami Zayn. He's just in the middle of a lot of friendships, between the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, and now the Seth Rollins, Cody, KO. He's right in the middle of all of it, and seemingly, again, kind of questioning what his part is in it.
Yeah, and remember last week, Sammy was trying to get Seth, talking, and I think Seth was something like, no, you're doing this to yourself, and now this kind of furthers it. So poor Sami Zayn, man, he's just gonna have like the whole Raw roster going after him because kind of just accidental things and just aligning himself with the wrong guys. But I thought that was, a good touch to it. So it just makes this Royal Rumble more interesting. You kind of got a million people, going after each other. So we'll see who gets to eliminate Sami Zayn, or kind of what happens to his storyline there.
Yeah, definitely interested in that. A couple other things quickly from Raw. Logan Paul announced, or there was an announcement that he will be back making his debut on Raw this tomorrow. So that'll be something to look forward to. Also, CM Punk's promo from the stands. He threatened to toss Hulk Hogan's dusty ass over the top rope and kill Hulkamania for good. So that's, you always get something good with CM Punk on the promo. But he also mentioned Roman Reigns still owes him that favor. So also kind of something to keep in the back of your mind. Maybe that'll pop up in the Royal Rumble ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I thought CM Punk, it was hilarious there. And I'm just going to quick on this. Does Logan Paul get booed out of the arena like Hulk Hogan did? Does that happen?
Okay, yeah.
Because Logan Paul,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of on the same side as Hulk Hogan there. So yeah, we'll kind of see. I'm interested in that. But the whole CM Punk thing I thought was great, and I'm very curious. What is what is that favor? What does Roman have to do? I don't think Roman's going to win the Royal Rumble. But if he won, is it one of those? Hey, your spot comes to me. I don't know. Just kind of your imagination can run wild here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to SmackDown real quick. We had Rhodes with a promo with Joe Tessitore. No interference was the surprising part about that. But in any case, then we get the Motor City Machine Guns beating Pretty Deadly. And Skull and Crossbones for the win. Good match. Not much to bring out there. Again, back with Kevin Owens was cut off Joe Tessitore at the booth. And kind of set up a matchup with him and Jimmy Uso after antagonizing Matthew McConaughey, who was sitting ringside for a little bit. And then we had B-Fab in Machine against Piper, Niven, and Chelsea Green. Short match, and Niven is the security. She's taken out, which tells the story that Michin is able to pin Chelsea Green. Again, somewhat of an advancement in their feud, but I thought another awful decision. Maybe in this throwaway tag match, you have Niven take the pin. You have just as much heat, but again, your champion taking a pin. I don't think champions should generally take pins.
No, and WWE, I don't know what they've been doing the last 6 months, but champions are not protected anymore. They're all taking pins, and Chelsea's just she was a kind of a comedy act. She's just starting to be taken serious, and then you have her be pinned to Michin on like her 3rd episode since she's won the championship. I thought it was a horrible decision.
Yeah, it would be, and we are big Chelsea Green fans, so maybe that plays a little bit into it. But again, she's just got all the momentum in the world to lose in a tag team match between people that haven't won championships in WWE. I mean, it just didn't look great. What I did like about it is that Wade Barrett compared B-Fab legs to Stacy Keibler, so that was kind of funny. Stacy Keibler, a lot of young men's favorites back in the day, we'll put it that way. And then we'll move on from that. Well, I mentioned it earlier. Tiffany Stratton was interrupted by Rhea Ripley, who was interrupted by Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, who was interrupted by Naomi and Bianca Belair, who was interrupted by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, all declaring for the Royal Rumble. For some reason, we got a match out of it between Jax, LeRae, Morgan, and Belair, Naomi, and Ripley. And Morgan gets the win, pinning Belair. Again, I don't necessarily have Morgan probably needs the win to kind of feel like a threat, but they've protected Bianca Belair for years for a throwaway pin here in a match that nobody's going to remember. And maybe that's what they're hoping. But, man.
Yeah, in a match that has Candice LeRae.
Right.
This is like the second time a match that's had Candice LeRae, a tag team. She's not the one taking the pin. It's a champion. Because it was Nia Jax, taking the pin the other time when she was a champ. And now you have Bianca. And like you said, it was fine. Liv Morgan, hasn't been taken all that serious, as of late. And she lost her championship and all that. But Bianca Belair, who I would say is probably outside of Rhea Ripley, probably the strongest wrestler in the WWE, and she get a roll-up pin, not even like a finisher move. It was a surprise roll-up, which I know you do, but that kind of makes it even more insulting on there. So I who knows what they went with on this? Because two champions getting pinned in one night, that's rough.
Let's continue the bad pin decisions with Apollo Crews against Johnny Gargano.
Oh my
Crews, who has zero momentum whatsoever, for some reason pins half of the tag team champions with yet another roll-up victory. They do these roll-ups all the time. It's not so much of a surprise if every other match is a roll-up, but again, I can't explain that one. I do not know why you would decide that Apollo Crews, maybe they have something planned for him, but they need to build up Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. Specifically, they've got them in a matchup in the Royal Rumble for the tag team championship with Motor City Machine Guns, a 2 out of 3 falls match, which fine, but I'm telling you, that's my popcorn match right now because you're not building them up.
No, and I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna pull Triple H here. What happened to Apollo Crews' Nigerian accent that they were going with?
That's right. That was his probably best deal.
Yeah, it's just gone. But we said it 2 weeks ago. we forgot Apollo Crews was even still on the roster, and now you have him pinned in half of the tag team champs. That's 3 champions being pinned by, I don't want to say nobody's, because Liv Morgan, obviously somebody.
Sure.
Meechin, not really. Apollo Crews, not really. That's Apollo Crews. No, I'll just say that. Not even a not really. A no. Good for him, but there's no way they have anything for him after like the last 3 years. He's done nothing on this. roster.
It's hard to imagine what that next thing would be. So I don't know. Some interesting decisions there. Tama Tonga then would take on LA Knight. LA Knight gets the BFT for the win, but Fatu and Tonga did not like it, so they jumped LA Knight. Strowman comes out to break it up. This matchup, which was between Tonga and LA Knight, really was the setup. Strowman and Fatu for the next night. Then we had Damian Priest making his SmackDown debut against Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes was looking forward to this matchup against the new SmackDown contestant. Nick Aldis surprised him with Damian Priest. So you ended up having Damian Priest get that win. No surprise over Carmelo Hayes, who at one time was the number 1 pick on this brand, and I don't think he's won since he's been here.
Nope, they've thrown him away. It's done. He's a jobber. And I think though for Damian Priest, this is great going to SmackDown. New feuds, get him away.
Yeah,
absolutely. From Finn Balor right now. But Carmelo Hayes, man, like you said, they still try to market him as Money Mellow, number 1 draft pick. They still do that. Nothing. I think he's won. The only time he's ever won a match was when he had that 8-match feud against Andrade. He won like 2 or 3 of them. Other than that, he's been a jobber, irrelevant. It's so bad.
He's kind of the jobber that they're going to right now. That's kind of his role. Which again, if you're a new guy, sometimes you have to go through that phase of your career and just pray you make it to the other side. And so he hopefully kind of something comes for him at some point. He did attack Jimmy Uso as Jimmy Uso was going to the ring with KO, which was weird because usually that would like take Jimmy Uso out, but they just came back from break and they're just like, never mind, he's fine.
That just shows Carmelo Hayes is nothing. And the funny thing is, we don't follow NXT. He was the guy in NXT when he got drafted up here, and NXT is like Triple H's baby. He must have done something to make them mad because like you said, he attacked Jimmy. Oh, it's nothing. Jimmy's still in the match. That just doesn't make sense to me. How somebody can fall so far like that.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, hopefully they have some sort of plan for him. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Also, what we saw tonight too was the Miz. The Miz is over on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. He's worried because the Wyatt Six are also over on SmackDown, so he's looking to pair up with people. I thought they did a good little deal where he couldn't find anybody. And eventually, he got Austin Theory and Grayson Waller to agree right before Nick Aldis came over there and told him they were going to Raw. Yeah. And they were so excited about it. And Miz was just left there without any help. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then the main event was KO and Jimmy Uso. Like I mentioned, Carmelo attacked Jimmy. But ultimately, as you can expect, the Usos, both of them kind of just at that, let's put them in a big match because they're a big name, but it's to put the guy over, and that's what happened here. KO with the pop-up power bomb again for the win. Any sort of momentum he had out of that was sweet chin music out of him.
Last night 100%. 100%. It was all just gone.
All right, let's take a quick break. We've still got our predictions for the Royal Rumble coming up next year on Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Early break.
As Kevin says, the old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good
them.
joke, good
I love
one.
the joke. You're good.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bockoven on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are just a few days away from being officially on the road to WrestleMania once we crown our champions. Or I should say our Royal Rumble winners. They aren't champions, but they're going after championships at WrestleMania. So it's time to give our predictions for the events at Royal Rumble. Before we get into the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches, there are a couple other matches that are on the card. We'll start with the WWE Championship. We've already kind of spoiled our thoughts about this earlier in the show, but Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, a ladder match. There's almost no way that Kevin Owens comes out the champion unless they really want to do a quick serve and let Cody win it, maybe right back at Elimination Chamber or something like that heading into WrestleMania. But I guess the big question here is are we going to get interference maybe from Sami Zayn, who KO was trying to convince to help him out, maybe from a returning Randy Orton. That's kind of the question here, because I think KO or Kevin Owens will lose this one. Cody Rhodes is the clear decision to win.
Yeah, for sure. Cody Rhodes is going to win. It'd be fun if there was some interference, but I don't think this needs an interference. I think, if anything, Kevin Owens is going to enter in the Royal Rumble, and maybe that's where Randy Orton, kind of gets his revenge, kind of comes back in, hopefully surprise, on that one. But yeah, I think just Cody Rhodes just straight wins it, gets both belts on the ladder, and that's all she wrote on this one.
Yeah, I see that that feud kind of coming to a close there. Then we have WWE Tag Team match between DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. Each of them have had the title. I suppose the last two teams have the title. DIY currently has it. It'll be a 2 out of 3 falls match. We talked about it. I thought that both of them are entertaining. They've done good jobs of kind of highlighting each of these teams. Unfortunately, because they've already swapped the tag team championships a little bit between them, I don't necessarily care a whole lot who wins between the two of them, but I would say there seems to be a lot of booking around Motor City Machine Guns. So I'd say they'd be my guess, but again, I don't think it matters all that much. They're going to be fighting with each other the next couple of weeks, my guess. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Motor City Machine Gun, really long name. I think they're gonna win, just like you said. They kind of have the momentum, and on the other side, we just saw what happened on Friday with Johnny Gargano, because it is DIY, right?
Yeah.
But still, yep. I mean, you can't lose to Apollo Crews and then be able to defend your title at the Royal Rumble successfully. I just think that's kind of a bad omen there.
Yeah, and just like this one, you're very interested to see if Pretty Deadly gets involved.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No. You're not all that interested.
No,
but they might get involved there. They've been telling that story. Man, that match really I was surprised it made it to the Royal Rumble match. Again, nothing against the competitors. I think it's entertaining enough for SmackDown or Raw. But I would be even surprised to see it on Saturday night's main event. But this is what they're going with. 2 out of 3 falls match at least makes it a little more entertaining, but also makes it a little longer. So I don't know. Let's get into the women's Royal Rumble match. Of course, the contestants that we know, Nia Jax, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Liv Morgan. But Charlotte Flair getting a lot of the pub coming in with her return and declaring in these video packages that she will return. I'll go ahead and say it. I think this is similar to Cody Rhodes a few years ago. They did a similar thing, and Cody Rhodes was the favorite. Charlotte Flair is the favorite here. I think they go with the favorite.
Yeah, they're going to go with the favorite. It's going to be Charlotte. I think it's going to be Becky Lynch will surprise return. Alexa Bliss is going to surprise return. Charlotte Flair. And I'd say Jade Cargill is going to come back.
Yeah.
And maybe eliminate Bianca. There's going to be a lot of storytelling here, but I think ultimately Charlotte Flair will win. And I'll say Alexa Bliss be the runner-up, just to have her back and be fun.
Yeah. And by the way, it is kind of fun. They do these in this. You've kind of got the final four. For some reason, among Royal Rumbles, that just kind of stands out because they all kind of go to their corners and they stare each other down. And so it's kind of a lot of fun to get down to the final four. I don't think that Nia Jax will make it there. Usually the big they all have to get together to push one of them out. So that'll be kind of fun there. So what would you say? Like Liv Morgan, Io Sky?
So for me, it'll be like Charlotte, Liv, now that I think about it, maybe Bianca, and maybe like Alexa Bliss if she is in there. If it's not Alexa, I think it'd be like a Becky. You're bringing them back for a reason.
Yeah.
I would love if an AJ Lee comes back.
Ooh,
I mean, everybody's been kind of hoping for it, but that's really a long shot. But yeah, it's I think it'd be between those four.
All right, on the men's side, you've got John Cena. I mean, this is a loaded one. John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, all declaring themselves for this Royal Rumble. I would say that if you want to follow storylines, I think it could come down to Roman Reigns. I don't think CM Punk will make it that long. Seth Rollins is, I think, going to eliminate him at that point. I think John Cena makes a lot of sense for your final four, just to wonder where the booking is going. But ultimately, I'm going to go with number 30, the 30th entrant, The Rock, to come in and eliminate Roman Reigns right before, and maybe see where that goes. The only hole in that is that I don't know. He's got to go after a championship, and somehow The Rock needs to be against Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. But gotta have to think about it more. But I still think The Rock comes back and win.
You think so? I think it's John Cena. They've hyped it. It's his last one. The Rock is a good 30th entry. So I think it'll be Roman. Mine is Roman, CM Punk, The Rock, and John Cena. And then Roman has to cash in on that favor, maybe.
That could be it there,
a team up, and that maybe irks The Rock, and that starts that feud.
Maybe that's how you get
on there. But yeah, it's going to be them. But I think the chosen one, the champ, John Cena, is going to win, and then he's going to go off into the sunset with his record-breaking championship eventually at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. We will see if that's how they end up doing it. Either way, a lot of ways it could land, and we'll be excited to talk about it next week on Nuclear Heat. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you next week here for 93.7 The Ticket. Our local programming is done for the night. We'll be back early in the morning for our early break with some great coverage all week. Once again, good. Thanks for joining us tonight on Nuclear Heat. We'll see you next week when we cover and know what's going on for WrestleMania, as we'll know the results of the Royal Rumble.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.